Hello, this is segment 3 of Synchronous Sessions, a series of recordings and resources that all pertain to live learning and meetings in remote instructional settings. This segment focuses on engaging activities. If you see this picture of this sad-looking chimpanzee, this is something that our students and or our colleagues or ourselves might be feeling in these weird times. So we want to look at ideas and ways that we can help them feel a little happier, a little more connected, a little more able to learn and be productive. So, in that vein, we really want to think about social emotional learning. A lot of research and reports have come out about this, and it's important in face to face settings, but even more so when we are remote and students might be experiencing higher levels of negative emotions. So, as we're designing these live sessions, thinking about students in particular, how are we going to account for the students who are missing? Okay, as we're designing our activities, what are we going to do for those students who can't make it? So trying to think about keeping it simple, especially at the start, and as small as possible. As the bigger the group, the harder it is to manage and facilitate. And then as we're recording, if we're sharing out those recordings, we really want to be careful with that. So in looking at some of the options available to us, this is just an example of what it might look like in Zoom or Google Meet. So you have a lot of features built in these platforms that you can use in our live learning or connection meetings. Something to consider, how can you have people represent their learning through visual representations? They all have a camera, hopefully. So could they design a mind map, some kind of visual that they could show to the camera and then explain? Those could be good options for you, or you could use something like the whiteboard that's built into Zoom, the chat that's built into whatever platform you're using. However, there's going to be instances where students aren't able to use their camera or don't want to use their camera. So if you're designing for that, these are things that you want to keep in mind in addition to students who just can't participate in general. So how can you use tools or find ways that people can participate without using their camera or not being there live? So one consideration or one example is using Google's Jamboard whiteboard tool so that those who are participating can't use their camera can still contribute to a live um, platform, and those who aren't there for the live version can contribute to it later and still feel that connection and see and view what others have done. In looking at our remote instruction bootcamp site, when you go to the Synchronous Sessions page and scroll down to the Engaging Activities section, you'll see the link to our resource doc. And when you open that up, there are these key considerations for you to think about. A lot of the things that I just talked about now, but there's also resources that can help inform your decisions and give you some more ideas. So this first link pertains to social emotional considerations. Um, this 25 engagement ideas for students in Zoom. I'll look at this. So I want to point out that this person looked at sharing your screen, which I think is good as a teacher. But if you're asking students to share their screen, remember that they might not be able to do that very well, and or students won't all be able to participate equally in that. Same thing with the whiteboard feature and or the annotation features. So you can consider using those platform tools, but just I guess do so thoughtfully and think about how everybody's going to participate equally. If you scroll down, there's more general ideas and activities that they can do. That could both be connection oriented, just getting people to feel like they're part of a group and socializing and interacting. We could also throw in some content, potentially some new instruction, direct instruction, if you feel comfortable with that. I put a link to some other general activity ideas as well, because I believe that there are some helpful ideas there. And I also included a question I often get is how to view your online participants while sharing your screen. So as I mentioned before, Jamboard is a good option for a collaborative whiteboard. And this link takes you to more information about how to use that. But to show you an example too, this is one that we did with an EdTech group. And in Jamboard, you can post sticky notes, draw, and highlight. So you don't have too many things that you can post, but if you're trying to share ideas or generate thinking, you can create different pages, and then students or teachers or colleagues can all contribute to this one place, and I can share this link to anyone and then give access rights after the fact for those who want to add their thinking or be able to see what everybody has done. Whereas if I did this in Zoom, I would not be able to access that whiteboard very easily unless I watched the recording, and I wouldn't be able to contribute to it. So this would be true of things like Google Docs or any kind of collaborative platform where you can have students contributing to something, posting answers um, that could extend beyond that synchronous session. I included some ideas to support students who cannot attend the live sessions. So to give a little more context or examples for that, I just put some ideas that you can contact them, check in their well-being, try to engage with them like you did with those who attended, provide a link to any direct instruction, and invite them to contribute to any shared doc or written discussions that took place. And if possible, if you can keep those groups small, I know some teachers have used like 15-minute chunks and broken up their hour to 3 separate 15 minutes. So for your task for this segment, you're watching the overview video now. Go through these links and resources and study them a little more carefully. Think about what's applicable and useful for you. And then try to identify one or more ideas or resources that you might use in different scenarios next year. So whatever you decide, try to describe your thinking in segment 3 of the synchronous sessions section of your bootcamp checklist doc. And then that will lead you to processing this at a deeper level and help me see what you're thinking. And as always, you can reach out to me if you have questions about ideas that you have, and then we can figure out what's going to work. So have fun and thanks.